Oh boy, health insurance, huh? Yeah, it's a topic that's such a large topic. It's hard to know where to start for the most part. But I'm going to give you a little bit of my background in a second, but on the way down I was thinking about health insurance as it relates to just me. I turned 55 last month, and between my knee going out on the treadmill, my back while I'm playing with the dog, I'm starting to have those things happen to me, which a lot of people have when they turn my age. So maybe play it safe, stay at home, keep on growing my forehead out here, and that might be a good thing, you know. So, in fact, my daughter tells me I have a monkey butt. Really? You know? And what's a monkey butt? That's a monkey butt, believe it or not, to a 19-year-old girl. So, anyway. All right, my journey is basically this. Started in the business in 1987. I've been in the employee benefits business longer than, again, like to talk about, but at the same time, we manage about 100 group insurance clients around the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, businesses like yourself. How I got to the place that I am today and what I'm presenting to you today is kind of just a happenstance of what happened. 2 years ago, I had a group of mine that was 16 people in size. Their insurance premiums had gone up so much that it was $15,200 a month. We as brokers, what we do is we shop the health insurance to all the different carriers and try to get that price down. None of the other carriers would even bid on the group, okay? I really didn't have anything else in my mind but just thinking to myself, just as a common sense, saying, what's the alternative to this situation? So I went to the individual marketplace. And just on a show of hands, who thinks that individual insurance is higher than company-sponsored insurance? Not uncommon for a lot of people to think that. So what I did is I realized that this company had a $2,000 single deductible, a $4,000 family. I went to the individual market with the best product I could find at the time was Blue Cross Blue Shield, $1,000 deductible. Okay? Went through every single age and every single person and every single family and added up the premiums, and it was $8,600 a month. And I seriously thought I did the math wrong, did it again, $8,600 a month. So that's a misconception, first of all, out there. Now, there's tax benefits that a group plan has when the company owns the contract, okay? Of course, if you went to an individual, they would own the contract. And so the rules and regulations that are on that group plan is basically what I'm going to give you kind of a look at today and how it compares to our newest model, which provides the same tax benefits as that old group plan, but getting away from the costs, getting a fixed cost for you and your company. And as you'll see at the end of this presentation, it's hard for me to say this because it sounds a little boastful. This is like an economic recovery plan for businesses. Okay? So, to start with, so the first thing is this. I mean, everybody's like, oh my God, you know, I don't know. There is so much to it. There really, truly is so much to it. It's just breathtaking sometimes. So 2 years ago when I came onto this by happenstance, I started working with my attorney firm, Heitzman & Wold, Darcy Heitzman. She's great. You'd love her. She's probably, in my opinion, the best attorney on this stuff in the whole area. We started looking at, you know, just how to structure this thing, get the tax benefits the same. How can we allow maybe a company of 20 employees and meet with them? I know it's a lot of work maybe at the initial part, but meet with them, find out what they want, and see if we can make a difference, okay? But this is just riddled with things. You're going to say, oh God, it's unavoidable. Like, okay, and sticker shock, that may be coming. Companies like Papa John's reducing employee hours, hiring freezes. There's reasons behind all of this kind of thing. These are usually related to large companies, over 50 in size. And some of you are nodding your head, I can see already. Because you know the rules are a little bit different for that. So, you know, companies cut their hours to below 28 hours a week. Anybody know why that would be? Just
don't have to pay benefits.
Say that again? A penalty? Yeah. Yep. So that plays into our model too. All of these things that you're seeing here that have happened takes this particular law into account in every single regard. Okay, so you'll see this as we kind of go through it. So this health bill is coming. You know, for the most part, we want to say to everybody that there's a solution that provides certainty. Have you heard that word in the media lately? I mean, how often do you hear businesses want certainty? Now, I can't provide certainty in other areas. I mean, there's an economics of all kinds of things here, and I'm kind of an economics nut, as you'll see one of my heroes I have on the screen here eventually. But the certainty in this particular area, we can guarantee you we can provide certainty. And you'll see a little bit more of it as we go here. Now this is what, you know, it's a world of acronyms. Have you ever noticed how many acronyms? I'm sure your own business, you got, you know, does anybody know what HIPAA means? I mean, or you know, what it stands for? Most people just know that's a privacy thing and so forth. COBRA, does everybody know COBRA, right? Okay. But nobody usually knows that. So, and in my associations with MAHU and NAFA, I'm constantly, you know, I have to stop myself and make sure I don't say an acronym and assume that a person knows what I'm talking about. Okay, we got all these things. So I try to figure out at the beginning of this, and most of you probably will feel this way in the room, the health insurance thing is just health care, health insurance, just the whole thing is just like, how do I even make sense of this? So I don't know how many people are old enough to remember Casey Stengel. Remember Casey Stengel? He used to have something called Stengel-ese, how he'd talk. And I figured that this was probably the best description here of what describes health insurance. They say you can't do it, but sometimes it doesn't always work. And he, of course, would expect you to understand what he said, which is just nonsense, okay? Now that's Casey. And I won't ask how many people are Yankees fans, because that'll start a fight and stuff. So there's some things going on in the world that are just not even related to health insurance. It just don't make any sense. Anybody hear about the New York situation where they outlawed 16-ounce drinks or larger? You can buy 2 10-ounce drinks, but you can't buy a 16-ounce drink. Wow. And they're outlawing the light bulb, and they're not trusting you and I to choose, you know, which light bulb we want here. They're going to outlaw one of those things. And it turns out that that one that they're outlawing is just the least priced product. So now how about your company's health insurance? Now again, I'm going to be talking just on just so ground level common sense things. You as a company bought the insurance on behalf of your employees, right? You, the owner, are making the decision for all of these people of what they're going to get. Now, is there anything else really, if you think about it, in the whole world that, I mean, they get their own car insurance, they get all kinds of things on their own. Now, the history behind that I can explain another time if you're interested, but we got connected as business owners to the health insurance thing, okay? And here's the other part of it that's kind of a little bit. If I came to you and told you, well, you can see if just a couple people get sick, and this is what I've been dealing with for 25 years, guys. A couple people get sick, and the rest of those people's premiums go up next year. If I came to you with a car insurance plan and said, hey, I got a car insurance plan you can put in for all your employees, even let you deduct it. But if 2 guys, you young guys, yeah, you get DUIs, then everybody's car insurance, right? You'd think, God, what an idiot. Who brought this into this is the way it's been for decades. Seriously. And so that doesn't make sense to me. And that's actually called the controlled reorganization of alternative premium. Any of you heard of that before? Happens to be my favorite acronym. Actually, I just made that one up. But it doesn't make any sense, really, at the heart of it all. Mention I'm an economics nut. If anybody wants to study something about economics, or one person I would highly recommend to study this guy. This is what he represented for the most part was just freedom. He was way back in the 50s. He died about 5 years ago, but just a brilliant man. And so most people don't understand what kind of freedom is involved in economic freedom. And that's kind of the gist of our model today. So as we go through this, as I mentioned, everybody has choices that they make. You, unfortunately, and I have been for years, stuck in this model to say, Me as an employer need to get that contract. I need to own the contract. Don't let them own it, but I'm going to own the contract. But when we make these choices, if you think about it, we're discerning in every single category. I mean, in your home insurance, your phone, your groceries, and so forth and so on. And they're competing for your business out there, right? And when they compete, the prices tend to stay down. I had the LASIK eye. Anybody have LASIK eye surgery done? How long ago did you have it done? So the price 10 years ago compared to where it's at now, I think I paid $2,400 or something for mine. I saw an ad the other day, it's $250 per eye. Okay, so the result of the competition and choice is what Friedman has always talked about. Put competition and choice into the model, you'll keep your prices down. And that's kind of what we're talking about here. So let them make their choices and let those the market price work. So just with the phone, you're choosing amongst all these things right now. They're competing for your product or for your business, right? That competition is so awfully key. And so when we work with our True Choice model, if you were one of the employees on your company, we would make sure you get what you want, okay? And whether it's the company, whether it's the product, how you structure the product, you could do all kinds of neat things individually that you can't do on a group. So why not your health care? So this is what we do. We say to you, what are you looking for? Like for instance, what kind of maternity coverage do you want? Do you know you have to have maternity coverage on a group? You have to have all kinds of things on your group because there's 64 rules from the state of Minnesota that says this is what you have to have. If you picked a plan that didn't have maternity, why would you, that's what I'm saying, okay? You'd save probably 10 or 15% on your product with one of these companies if you just got that. If you didn't want brand name drug coverage, you'd save 13%. Mental health and substance abuse, people have kids in the room, might want to keep that. You save another 8%, okay? But that's where the choice and the competition, and this is the most critical decision you're going to make. I mean, it really is a very big decision. And when it comes to 2014 and the Affordable Care Act is folded into this society, you'll need to make changes or choices within bronze, silver, platinum, gold plans, and that's what we're designed to do. So these are the two roads. The dead-end road basically on the right side with little droppings of some kind there, I'm not sure. That's the road I'm going to describe first. Most people understand this, and they really have heard this before. If you're going to start a group insurance plan where your company owns it, you're required by the state of Minnesota, one of those many rules, to pay 50% of the cost, of the employee's cost, okay? So if you had a bunch of single employees, which we have Great Clips as a client, Snap Fitness, and a lot of young people, Von Hansen's meets, a lot of single people on there. You're going to have to pay 50% of that cost. But the next year, when that crazy, crappy thing about that insurance being everybody together goes up, you as a company have to pay the 30% increase on this whole thing. So that's one of the rules. Now, in 2014, how many people know this? That an employee can pay no more than 9.5% of their particular salary towards health insurance. So if I was one of your employees, 55 years old, and my premium is $500, and you have to pay $250 of mine, and I'm only making $25,000 because I've been out of the workforce for a while, but I finally found a job with you, then the employer is responsible for paying the additional amount over and above that 9.5% just next year. One of the little provisions or the rules of staying on a group plan. So for the employer, this is everything. You have wages, you have taxes, you have maybe FDA government regulations to deal with, all of it that eats into your profit margin. And right in this area right here is where jobs reside. We all know that, right? And so when you have your health insurance being that much of your budget, and they've come to me for years, why would that go up 25 or 30%? When everything else is not going up that much, and I really didn't have a good answer for them. I was being told by the insurance companies all kinds of stories and so forth. It didn't make any sense. So our job is to bring that cost down, fix your cost as a business, and allow these employees to get what they want. And that's this other road. We already talked about how they have lumped in, basically, the insurance company, the employee, and your company into a group plan, okay? By separating these things out. Friedman wrote a book called Free to Choose years and years ago, 1979 or 80. But when you're free to choose and you separate those things out, the company can say, okay, I'm going to pay my employee, and you can pay them a tax-free amount each month to help them with this health insurance. But they then go to the insurance company through our organization and get what they want. When you see the common sense of it, first of all, but put along with that the numbers, it is quite dramatic. So you don't have a connection anymore to the insurance company, okay? But of course, this is a very key thing. Your employees have been taken care of for years, correct? If you don't take care of them still with their health insurance, if you just say, well, we're canceled, you're on your own. You're going to have an exodus probably like nobody's business. You need to work with an organization that takes care of these individuals like you're holding their hand like their family, okay? Because they have to make this decision once a year, just like you had to make it on your group plan. But no more are you bringing in your CFO or your HR director and toiling for 2 or 3 months for your group insurance renewal because you don't have a renewal anymore. There's no more renewal, okay? This is just a brief look at individual premiums using a health reimbursement arrangement. Anybody heard of health reimbursement arrangement before? But this is the discrepancy in rates. And this is what I found in that little 16-person group before. So our job, if you have an existing plan, is to transform that group within about 60 to 90 days over to the individual marketplace. And this is what usually happens. We have this much involved in the total monthly amount on a corporate group plan with 20 employees. We bring that cost down to, if you're going to still split it between 50% and 50%, the company wins, the employee wins. There's a method to our madness, which I won't go into all of that right now, but 60 to 90 days to get that done. This is what I talked about before. My $500 premium on a group plan in 2013, you're responsible as an employer for 50%. And if you keep that group plan, and my income was what I just described before, and I'm not paying any more than 9.5% of that, then you're going to have to pay more of my insurance next year. The benefits of the HRA, and I've talked about this before, is the fixed cost. You set a budget. You can base it on occupational class, years of service. Our Great Clips groups, one of our Great Clips groups did a years of service thing, which I thought was really brilliant. Had a pretty small organization, about 8 people, but in the first 3 years, she gave them a certain dollar amount. They stayed with her for the next 3 to 6 years. She gave them an additional dollar amount. 6 plus, she gave them even more. So it's a little bit of an incentive to stick around. I like that. Again, your employees choose their own insurance plans, and they do like that. This is just, after all is said and done, is an empowering experience for them. How many times, I don't know how many people have group insurance plans in this room, but if you switch from Blue Cross to Health Partners or to Preferred One or whatever, and I always say, is my doctor in the network? Well, when they come to us, who's your doctor? Let's put them in your network. Let's get the plan that fits you. And if you're a single person, you guys might want a higher deductible. If you're a family, you got kids, you might want co-pays, a lower deductible, a richer benefit design. You can customize it how you want. So who would you rather work for? This is really what it comes down to after all this transformation is done. Do you want to work for a company that pulls out $250 a month out of my paychecks? The company decides what coverage I get. Now, I know you guys probably have put together different choices for people at times. Here's 2 or 3 plans and so forth. But literally, the sky's the limit for them now. My company decides my network. Will my doctor be in there? My company decides how much I have to pay each year for coverage. Again, if you chose a higher deductible, you're going to pay less premium, right? If I leave the company, you own the contract. This COBRA goes away for the health insurance. If you left my company, you don't receive, if I was giving you $200 a month tax-free through that HRA, you don't get that anymore. but the bills come to your house and you get your own health insurance and you just go on with your merry life. You as business owners, your HR people are going to be thrilled with this thing. It's just a real dramatic, and we pay for, by the way, on all my groups for all these years, I paid for the COBRA service on their behalf, okay? But a lot of that is starting to change. Company B. My company, I understand, gives me $2,500 a year tax-free to use how I choose. Anybody familiar with flexible spending accounts? The term use it or lose it. Have you heard that one before? With this account, you can give them that $2,500, split it up over 12 months. With the HRA, you can choose to roll that to the next year. If they've accumulated some money in that HRA, they can actually roll it to the next year and the next year. And you as a company have discretion on when, if you want to recover it all, every single year you can do that as well. Then you choose, on the individual side, what coverage that you want, choose your network, choose how much I pay based upon, try to, customize maternity, this and that, and so forth, deductibles, and then you own your own contract. Now, there are rules and regulations regarding the HRA, but there are many, many different things that are qualified reimbursable expenses. So if you have a dental plan and you have a deductible on your dental plan that's $100 each year, you can actually go into your HRA and you can use the money. Now, the flexible spending account that I referenced before, that used to be the employee's money, that it's a use it or lose it. This is your money from the employer, tax-free, to use how they want in all of these different things. And there's much, much more than that as far as the list. So the benefits of your company, you decide on the contribution level and fix the cost, spend less time in admin work, boost recruiting and employee retention. Once you transform your group and you have some money freed up, you can make this thing just flower in front of an employee. You can say, look, when we used to have just health and dental. Now we have life, disability, critical illness, long-term care. The monies that you save, you can still have them contribute, but that's how this thing all of a sudden works. And whoever you're competing with out there that just has the health and dental and stays with the group, you're going to knock them dead. To your employees, again, they choose their own carriers and plans. They own their coverage, decide how to allocate their HRA dollars, and their claims are independent. That claims are independent thing is a big deal. In fact, the rules on an individual policy is, if I have $1 million claim, they can't raise my premiums 1 penny. Now, that's not true in the car insurance world, but I own Medica Symphony. That's my own individual plan. I converted my group to individual. There's 100,000 people in the Medica Symphony plan. They have to raise, by law, that group of 100,000 people all at once a year. Okay? The average for the last 5 years has been about 4 to 6% increase each year. But it certainly hasn't been what my groups have been doing for years. So here's an actual case study. This is what we do for your group. We do an analysis based on what your current premiums are. We even do an analysis based on what your coverage is and compare it with individual coverage. But you can see that this particular one has a $2,000, $4,000 deductible. Here's the people in the family. Some of them have 2 people on there, some of them are single, some of them have family. But then what we do is we say, what does Medica Symphony look like? This is one of the richest plans around, by the way. That's a 13.5% decrease if everybody goes with Medica, but not everybody would have to go with Medica. Medica Symphony has maternity coverage that you didn't want, right? Blue Cross Blue Shield. You can go with, and that's the closest thing we could get on this one, is a $1,500 deductible, 4.5 or 4,500 family deductible. That's the premiums on Blue Cross Blue Shield. And Health Partners does not have maternity on this particular product. That's the cost. It's 25% less. We transform your group to 25% less, or almost $2,000 a month less. And I'm really proud to be able to give them a plug here. Von Hansen's is our biggest, and I met with him just this morning, Pete Von Hansen. Biggest success story to date. When we started on the whole thing, it was, Katie, was April last year, I think it was. We got done with the whole thing, and Katie and Elliot are right in the back there, both of my employees that are here. And introduce yourselves, if you will, too. $17,200 a month in premiums, a $4,000, $8,000 deductible. We transformed their plan. A lot of them went with Medica because it was like the richest plan, okay, and a lot of them chose that. And then we found out that there's a few people that were double covered. They were covered on their plan because Pete was paying for them, and their spouse's plan. Wow. A few people said, well, okay, well, we're going to go over to the spouse's plan. At the end of the whole thing, $17,200 to $6,400 a month. And I'm telling you what, our choir guys is the employees that come to us afterwards. Samantha Pohl is my little gal who works at Von Hansen's Meats in Lakeville. I go buy my meat in Lakeville. Of course, you're going to go to Von Hansen's, right? Her premium before was $133 or $135 a month. She pays $6 a month now because Pete Von Hansen was kind enough to not change his contribution very much at all. He could have dropped it way down and had them share in this, but Pete's he's really a tremendous guy. And he runs a great business too. So that's what they decided to do, is to keep that contribution level relatively the same. And our biggest one, family of 5, the guy has $781 extra in his paycheck every month since April 1st of last year. Now, when you talk about this, as I started the slides to talk about what's going on with the Affordable Care Act. This is one thing that most people don't even really understand. Okay, I work for your company. I'm making $25,000 a year. And again, 50-year-old and just came to work for you, right? Next year, I can only pay 9.5% of my income, or about $150 a month. And me as a company, if I kept that group plan, would pay the rest. But if you're a single person making $50,000 or less, or married family making $90,000 or less, you're eligible for a substantial subsidy through the Affordable Care Act to help pay these premiums. That 9.5% is still going to be my responsibility. But remember how I said that the group would have to pay the rest? You as a company, if you kept a group? Now, the state of Minnesota, through that program, pays their coverage for them, the rest of the premium. It literally could be to where a family of 4, $40,000 a year, that on your plan is paying $12,000 a year in total premiums, or $1,000 a month, is $1,900 for the whole year. What do you want to do? It's like trying to stop a person from going on to Medicare. It used to be $800 a month for my premium, and now it's $150. You know what? You have to work within the system here. There's not all bad related to this thing, and if you do it right within your business, we hope to be able to help you transform that plan and have these employees just overjoyed after all is said and done. Thank you very much.